reminders. We will be recording this session and we'll share the presentations with you, which should help your note taking. Hopefully you can pay attention to the content and you will see this in a recorded version as well as the content. As questions arise throughout the program, please use the chat box. We will be going ahead and monitoring those questions and asking those for the presenters. Olivia Coaster will be monitoring our chat. And so if you have any other things that you'd like to put on there, you can also see links to information that we will be giving that'll be included in the chat as well. This morning, we are going to be joined and excited to hear from Jim Justice, Senior Vice President of Corporate Responsibility and Resource Management, it's quite a mouthful, at CalSec, and Chad Miller, Senior Energy Efficiency Program Manager at Consumers Energy. You know, often when people hear the word sustainability, they think of the planet and the ecology and being green. And that's part of the story, but that's not the entire story. So to go ahead and take a deep dive into this topic, please welcome Jim Justice.
Thanks, Petey, and good morning, everyone. I'm going to get my screen launched here briefly. And it's kind of a bad first statement of sustainability to have such a long title. I should try to condense that down to be more efficient. I've got a few slides and a really short video I want to share with the group, and then look forward to a conversation at the end of the presentations. How did I do? Are you seeing my screen?
We are, but we're seeing your side view as well. There you go. Perfect.
Great. So thanks for that intro, Petey. And really today talking about sustainability, people, planet, and profit. And like Petey said, there's a lot of elements to this other than just the environmental sustainability piece. And a big piece of what I'm going to talk about today is the people side of this as well, by the time we get to the end of the few minutes here. So what I hope to go through today, and my intentions really today are to share our journey as corporate responsibility and sustainability. And journey sometimes gets very overused as a term, but I'll tell you, it really applies in this case, because I know that several people on this call are gonna look at what I'm talking about and say, we did that 10 years ago. You know, that's way beyond what you're doing is we've already taken care of, and vice versa. There's gonna be some people that say, oh, those are new terminologies and some things I haven't seen before. So CalSec, Petey introduced and said you're going to have experts speaking. I'm going to say this whole process of becoming more publicly disclosed as far as who we are as a company has become a humbling experience as well. When you benchmark yourself against the best in the globe, really digging deep and finding out where you have opportunities to improve and things like that is humbling as well. And I'm not going to share myself as an expert. I'm on the journey like probably most of you are. So hope you can gain something from this. So for this, hoping to do is encourage others in this community to find ways to use their business for good. And also for local networking opportunities. You know, where do we hit on some hot spots that say, man, I could really learn something there, or I have something to share that I can share back with CalSec or other people on the call. And then just to share a few terminologies and tools. Specifically on materiality, talking about the UN Global Compact, and then a little bit about being a certified B Corp and what that might look like. And then this is my only plug for this piece, is that as you go through this, one of the things that CalSec is trying to promote, working with local legislators as well, is trying to get Michigan to become a benefit corporation state, to allow corporations to realign their articles of incorporation for those that choose to include things that aren't just fiduciary responsibility, things like social responsibility and how they take care of people on the planet. And that is, it made it go about 2012, 2013 and didn't make it. And we're making another go at it to join the other 37 states in the United States that already do allow that for their states. So with that, one of the things too that I think is helpful is just, I know a few names that are on this call, but I just want to share a little bit about who I am and where I come from and how I got here basically. So I'm a Portage Central Mustang graduate. I grew up in the Portage area. One of the things that changed my trajectory is I worked in the Youth Conservation Corps in the UP and in Lower Michigan when I was in high school. It took me to want to be a forest ranger, and I went to Michigan Tech to do that. and I went in as a forest ranger candidate and came out as a mechanical engineer. That's another long story, but and in that process, I worked for Georgia Pacific when that plant used to be, that mill used to be located on Kings Highway. I was a machine tender, fourth and sixth hand, and receiving operator in the paper mill there. So local community. When I graduated, I went to work for Mead Paper in Escanaba, where I started my family, and then moved to Tennessee for a couple of years, worked in Chillicothe, Ohio for a while, and then transferred to, took a job with James River, who used to be the corner of Pitcher and Patterson back in the day. So a lot of local experience. When we moved back to town, we moved to Parchment, and that's where we raised our kids. While I was there also, I had the opportunity to participate as a school board member for about 5 years, as well as a city commissioner for 4 years, and the zoning board of appeals chair for about 5 years in that term as well. So different experiences there. After James River, I came to CalSec. So I've been here almost 26 years with CalSec, very fortunate, great privately held company, which that's going to be the basis of the conversation here. So I won't dig in too far there. And then also currently I've been a board member at the Nature Center for about 6 years out there. Family is really important to me. My wife and I have been married for 33 years. She's also local out of Comstock. Both of our kids are married, and they've brought us 5 grandkids so far. And when I talk about sustainability, social responsibility, corporate responsibility, for me, my perspective now is I've got 30-something kids, 30-year-old something kids, and my 5 grandkids that I would love to see them find great opportunities for healthy life choices and careers here in the Kalamazoo area. So it's all about keeping the kids close to home if we can. So for me. And then just for me, I love the outdoors. I'm a water person, a snow person. I had some great friends that took that picture of me wiping out down the hill out in Big Sky last year, just before COVID hit. And then anytime I can get in the woods, I do so. I love the woods. So that's just a little bit about me. So right now I'm going to share, it's about a 4-minute video, and it's just, it can talk better about who CalSec is to give you a feel for who we are and where we came from than I can talk through. And hopefully the tech works here as intended. Good.
Could I describe Dad's passion for the business? He couldn't separate it from his love of nature, from his view of humanity and our ability to make things better. The farm was part of it, the laboratory was part of it, the family was part of it, the community was part of it, and I really think that's become part of the DNA of this organization.
So I think that may be the most important part of our credos, that we hold nature and also respect.
And when you think about it like this, when you have a 100-year outlook, you have a focus on the long term. You're not guided by making short-term decisions. You're not guided by financial quarter. You're really motivated to build something of value and being in business for 100 years.
So now we opened up the Farmhouse Early Learning Center, which is a daycare for employees and their kids. When our employees are happy and when they feel valued and respected, they're more productive. It's just really about letting our families really feel that we support them.
We're engaging in some really interesting research now that I think is going to transform the food ingredient industry. It's pretty cool to be the best at what you're doing.
There, so hopefully that gives you a little flavor for who Kelsec is. We're a growing industry, and we've produced increased sales for the last 20 plus years. We've expanded globally. We're a global business based here in Kalamazoo. I like this picture specifically in that it shows our campus here in Kalamazoo. So this is our corporate headquarters. It's also the one of the central manufacturing sites that we have. We are actually carved out of the township. We are in the township of Kalamazoo. If you look at a map, we're carved out of the city. Basically, there's this development that took place back in the 60s. It was called a multi-use development area. And within this space, there's actually 28 acres that was zoned as spice extraction zone, surrounded by dedicated green space and an arboretum, commercial space, residential space, apartments. And so it was unique in its time as well as it developed. This again is some places where our products show up. So I'd be shocked that there's anybody on this call that does not consume our products. So as I'm talking and we're going through this, test me. You know, do you trust me and trust us? The stuff you're putting into your mouths and your family's mouths. But it's unless you live completely off the land and buy nothing from a store or a restaurant, then you're probably not consuming our stuff. But otherwise, in what you eat or drink, you're probably consuming our things. We are a business-to-business company, so you don't see our name on the shelves. We would identify ourselves because we know how labels are written and when our stuff shows up on the labels and products type things. So I'm not going to dig into mission, vision, values, other than that's what this is all about. When we talk about sustainability and we talk about social responsibility, is how do businesses combine these things and make them all work together? And of course, the core values are a really significant piece of this, because typically when you talk about sustainability and social responsibility, it is the longer term piece of this, which really comes down to core values and values of a company or the leaders of a company. What's really most important to them, how they use their business, and the profitability of their business. So this is just a snapshot of scale for this particular group in the community. So like the video showed, we've been family owned since 1958. We're currently in our third generation of family ownership, being privately held. You heard from Martha Todd, who is the third generation CEO of our company right now. And George Todd started that video. He was the second generation and recently retired. Our revenue is in excess of about 175 million. So we're not a huge business, but we're a medium-sized business and a global player in our marketplace. We have about 450 employees now globally. About 350 of those are based out of Kalamazoo. We run a 3-shift operation, manufacturing and laboratory operations here, typically 24/7. And we sell about 1,800 different products, large variety, 600, 700 different ingredients, and we blend custom solutions for our customers. So it's a relatively complex operation. Materials coming in and out. When you talk about sustainability and social responsibility, we have a lot of moving pieces and parts globally in that. So this is getting into really the nuts and bolts of if your company is desiring to be or is or has been more sustainable, more socially responsible. Materiality is the terminology and the tool that's needed really to define what's really important to your business and what's important to your stakeholders for success. So KelSec, like most of you, we're a for-profit business. So we're not running a charity, and we're not giving away everything that we make. We're a for-profit business, and our purpose is to support the livelihoods of our employees and the stakeholders and shareholders of our company. So this mechanism of materiality is all about identifying what's truly aligned with your business purpose and your profitability. So where do those things intersect? And when you talk about sustainability, a lot of times you hear people go, well, that's not us and we can't afford to do that, or whatever those pieces are. But this is about really figuring out where are the intersections and where do those align. So this particular view is KelSec's materiality matrix from last year. It was updated. And you'll see this future slide here in a second, just show how these pillars unwind. But when you look at this, these are the things that are identified as they're important for the 100-year private and sustainable vision of our company. You heard Scott Nikeza say that, being a 100-year company, and that's one of our internal mantras is we desire to be a 100-year private and sustainable business, and that starts anew every day. And that's critical to our long-term decision, or short-term and long-term decision making. So when look for our materiality matrix and this view, that's how we align things. What do we think is really critical that we pay attention to so we can remain private and sustainable for 100 years? So things like, for us, honesty, integrity, fairness, and our ethics was one of the critical items. Diversity, equity, inclusion, critical item. It's on our 100-year private and sustainable impact, high priority, and important to stakeholders, high priority. Part of this process is identifying who the stakeholders are in your business. And you would think that's a relatively simple process, but it's really from a perspective of who do you impact in your supply chain and your value stream. It could be customers, it could be suppliers, it could be your community. For KelSec, there was a big community impact. You know, like I said, we're nestled into the city of Kalamazoo, township of Kalamazoo, with neighbors around us. Some of our stakeholders are our neighbors. We have to be good neighbors to them, and in our region, as well as our customers, as well as our suppliers in India and the Middle East and South America, and our employees. So defining who are the stakeholders in your business. For some, because we're a B2B type company, non-government organizations aren't a significant input into our decision making, but to our customers they are. If you think of the likes of the Nestle's and the PepsiCos, World Wildlife Federation, Greenpeace, very much impact their decision making and their public appearance. So that trickles down into our organization to understand what's important to them when we talk about materiality. So one takeaway today is materiality. That's spending time on that and really understanding your stakeholders and how you align your business success with those things important to your stakeholders. And then from that, you start to develop what actions will you take and what do you need to take where those things align. So for us, we define these 5 different pillars in our system, CSR system, and then these developed action items and goals that get established in there. So for us, health and safety at work, we've got, like I said, a 7-day operation, plants operating in Texas and in Michigan, making sure that we have a healthy environment, a safe environment, both for long-term engagement of our employees and for our customers to know that we're a reliable, trustworthy organization and we can deliver because we have a safe operation is critical to our materiality, as well as the bottom line pieces like workers' comp insurance costs and insurance claims. It all aligns very tightly. So other places for us that are really critical, responsible sourcing. Most of you are probably aware how we're critically aware of how important the supply chain is in the food supply right now. And so responsible sourcing is one of the really material items all the way through our system for traceability and transparency for our suppliers. So none of our customers want to find out that we have a problem in our supply chain, whether we're taking advantage of a labor opportunity in a developing country, or we have some operations that are scrutinized somewhere in our supply chain. So responsible sourcing, heavy investment for us, And I have a slide, I'll touch on that a little bit more just to explain that. And then typical things that you'd see: reduce energy intensity, air emissions. We've done a really nice job the last 3 years. We're proud of our reduction in air emissions over the last 3 years. For us, it was our first focus was hazardous air pollutants. We knocked that down 88% over the last 3 years, specific targets and goals. And then groundwater intensity and diversity, equality, inclusion. We're still figuring out as a global player what this means to us and what our actions will be there. Right now, we're doing a deep dive into our organization to really understand what we're going to do next there. So this is the goal setting piece. Based on your materiality, what are you going to work on and where do you need to make improvements? That was this piece. And then it's the accountability piece. So these are where some of the tools shake out that can be used. Some of these, full transparency, are driven by our customers. They're mandates in our industry almost, and some of them are internally based. So for us, for example, SEDEX is a supplier ethical data exchange, is what that stands for. And that's almost a baseline to get into the game today in the food industry. It's a global standard. It says that we have ethical practices in place, and every 3 years we have a third party come in and audit our corporation and say that, yes, you're doing the right things as an ethical corporation. EcoVadis is another one. We just achieved gold status there. That's a supply chain recognition. B Corp is really an internal one. That's for us as a B2B company, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. It's an internal metric. It's one of the most rigorous audits we've been through as a business on the sustainability and social responsibility front. The SAI platform, Sustainable Agricultural Initiative. We're a natural provider of the ingredients, and everything comes from nature. So the agricultural piece is huge for us. Some of those things we own. This is our farm down in West Texas. This is Chili's in the background here, I believe. But a big piece of this, we have our own crops and our own farm management system. So agriculture is a big piece for us as well. I want to tie that into the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So for us, there's 17 goals. I'll touch on that in a second, but we've connected most strongly with goals 2 and 12 to talk about what we do in the food chain and food supply for minimize hunger and improve agricultural practices to be able to produce food for the next 20 years for the planet, and then responsible consumption and production, efficiency, energy reduction, water conservation, waste mitigation, et cetera, waste management. In January of last year, KELSEC became an active participant in the UN Global Compact, which is a public statement that we support the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact. And then we report out through the Global Reporting Initiative, the GRI standards. So that is actually the book. These are examples of, there's pamphlets for each element we track and measure, and that gives us the guidelines of how we need to record, measure, and report on corporate responsibility and sustainability. And just circled all these because these are all very tied together. The UN Global Compact develops and supports the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which relies on the GRI standards for reporting. So while it sounds like a lot in there, it's really all the same bucket of, if you decide to follow that path to have some type of tie to the bigger picture, those things all pull together and tie together. And B Labs is behind B Corp. Collaborated with the UN this last couple of years, and they've developed some really nice online tools to do self-evaluation at no cost to companies. It's called the SDG Action Manager. So I'll touch on here in a second as well. And then I can't talk too much without, this is our first big solar project at KELSEC. Showed up in the video as well. And we were able to take advantage of one of the consumers incentives back in 2015 to encourage implementation of this system for us in Kalamazoo, and then we've expanded on that since. Responsible sourcing, I said, was critical to us, and that is, this is just a piece of how that looks for our company. So when we talk about all the aspects of social responsibility, when we talk about being a certified B Corp, which is a people-centric standard, these are our rosemary fields in Texas. Everything's big in Texas, like you always hear. So the crop circles, this is our plant in the background showing over our fields. Our actual rosemary sourcing, because of climate change concerns for our major multinational customers, they have driven us, and we've reacted to make sure that we have more than one regional supply of most of our core products. So for an example, for us for rosemary, we're very proud of the fact that we've developed our own rosemary fields, high yielding, high concentration, uses less water or chemical than what we were using 3 or 4 years ago. But that's not good enough for our multinational customers. We were required to find sources in other parts of the globe as well. So if there's drought, if there's hailstorms, if there's tornado rips up our fields, et cetera, we have another supply. So we have a source out of Morocco as well, which is naturally harvested in the mountains of Morocco and managed by the government there for who can harvest and how that happens. So this is our Morocco part of the operation. And our B Corp status requires us to make sure we understand how we're impacting those people that are harvesting by hand in the mountains in Morocco. And we take account for that and make sure that we're not negatively impacting them. And if we are, disclose that, be transparent, and do something about it. These are chili fields. This is on our, this is what, when the chilies come out of the field and just before we process and dehydrate them down in Texas. And then for us in our Texas operations, I'm showing traditional spray irrigation systems for our crops. We're sitting on the Ogallala Aquifer, which runs through Texas, Oklahoma, through this area, which is actually one of the water-rich areas of that region. But water-rich in Texas is very different than what we're used to in Michigan, where we have an abundance of water and plentiful water. If I pump too hard for irrigation, my well goes dry and I have to stop for a while in Texas. So water is a really big issue for us in this region, which ties into our B Corp standard, which ties into some of the sustainable development goals as well. I talk about being a B Corp. So we're excited, and it was a natural evolution for Kelsec that we say that we've always been a sustainable company since our founding. You heard from Paul Todd speaking and George Todd a little bit, and our CEO, Martha Todd. We felt that we've always been a sustainable company. Like I said, also, we've learned that now that we're benchmarking ourselves through B Labs and the B Corporation against the best in the globe for being socially responsible and people-centric businesses. It was a humbling experience, but it's also an exciting milestone for our company to be recognized as a certified B Corporation. And today's actually our 1-year anniversary of that certification, that we made the choice last year to go ahead with that process with some of the risks of COVID, et cetera. And it says a lot about the leadership of our company as well, that it was still important while we were trying to figure out how to manage a manufacturing operation through the throes of COVID risks, et cetera, and government shutdown and startups and all those types of things. So, and part of this process for us is it's about internal engagement and external engagement. And part of our commitment to being a certified B Corp is to help educate and encourage others to go that path as well. So part of our part of our desire is if there's other companies that are interested in pursuing that path, to do so. For Kelsec, pursuing this path was more about maintaining and sustaining our legacy in future generations. Most companies that become B Corp are looking for ESG type investors. They're looking for some certification so they can get certain investment to pursue their company because they are a B Corp. So there's a lot of startups, there's a lot of smaller companies that become B Corps, and it creates a financial avenue for them for investment. For Kelsec, that wasn't the avenue. The reason that we did it, it was more because we're getting ready to set up the 4th generation of family ownership. We want to be private and sustainable for 100 years, and becoming a certified B Corporation and eventually, hopefully, a benefit corporation if Michigan will pass legislation so we can do so. It builds those into the systems of how our company is managed in future generations, which is really important to the current family ownership, that sustains itself for the next 100 years. So last plug for the benefit corporation. If you can talk to your legislator to help push that into Michigan, that would be great. But we are a pretty small subset. We're the only company in Michigan that's our size in our industry that is a B Corp. And part of that is the benefit corporation status, but the other piece is that we've taken a step before a lot of our competitors and others in the marketplace to be that. So this is the UN Sustainable Development Goals. A couple of years ago, we did a presentation for the what was the Southwest Michigan Sustainable Business Forum. Us and the Michigan Environmental Council did a joint presentation on this. And it's really, Michigan's an interesting, and so is the US, as far as their desire to not follow a global lead. You know, concerns on tying into global systems and things like that, the evil empire type discussions. For CalSec, it's been a wonderful tool for communicating globally and aligning very quickly with our customers and suppliers on what's critical and material to their business. So a lot of the big brand names that you know and purchase, I'm sure, that's how we talk first when we have the opportunity to talk sustainability is, what are the UN SDGs that you're aligned with, and how can we work together on projects to move those forward? And within here, PD, there's a couple of links down at the bottom that just talks, there's some really nice short videos that explain the UN SDGs if those get shared with the group.
We can do that.
Great, I'm almost wrapped up here. So last is on Global Reporting Initiative. This is just, I spoke on that and talk how we report. So this is just an excerpt out of this. There's about 200 lines, 150 lines that apply to our business. And for this particular one, there's certain things that we need to disclose on, and this is a public report. You can go out to globalreports.org and you can query CalSec and you can find our GRI index that's public. So as a private business, we don't have to do that, but we choose to do that for accountability and transparency. But it gets into things like electrical energy intensity reduction and how we're doing as a business year to year in that process. And of course, energy and natural gas are some of our biggest contributors to greenhouse gases in our reporting. So those are critical pieces that tie together. And that's what the next presentation is going to be talking about a little bit too, is on what consumers can do to help there. So with that, we are right now working on our greenhouse gas baseline. We just completed our baseline work for 2019-2020 for scope 1 and 2. We're just getting ready to start scope 3. And energy is our biggest contributor to those, both natural gas and energy. And because we've identified in our materiality matrix that climate change is one of those items that is because of our agricultural tie and our commitment to the planet, and for the next 100 years, is that's one of our actionable areas now that was identified for a global footprint. And that also supports the UN Sustainable Development Goals 7 and 12. Back in 2015, we took advantage of Consumers' ERT program, which was helped us justify early on for the solar investment on a 15-year plan that makes that, got us off the ground with solar. And then we've continued to build on top of that. And based on that, for our business and business success, right now with our solar investments and our energy reductions, we save about $30,000 a year in our utility costs, which that's how things tie together. What we found is any place we can improve efficiency, which is our sustainability desire, it also saves us money and cost, makes us more competitive in the marketplace. So thank you for letting me spend a few minutes on this, and look forward to the questions at the end after Chad's presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Jim. Congratulations to you and CalSec on the legacy that you have in being just such a leader on sustainability and staying ahead of the game. We do have a question that we're going to get to after we talk to Chad. There are some questions about how you continue to raise the bar and keep your eye on what's coming next. So I'll let you think about that for a few minutes as we go ahead. And you've done such a great job explaining so many different parts of how individuals and companies can, step into this. But for many small businesses on here, the biggest question, which I can kind of see running through your brains, is where do I even start? How do I start this journey? And how do I look at what I can do? I don't have, all this, need for power and things, but what can I do just to make a small impact within my own business? So to go ahead and just take a look at some of those tools that are available, I'm going to go ahead and invite Chad Miller to share with us some of the cool things that you can take advantage of with Consumers Energy, and then we'll head back into the questions.
Thanks, Petey. Here, let me see if we can do a smooth transition here. Can everyone see my screen? Great. So thank you, Petey, for that introduction. Thanks for having me today, and happy Earth Day. What an appropriate time to be talking about all of these sustainability opportunities and energy efficiency. Before I get started, I will probably use terminology energy waste reduction and energy efficiency kind of interchangeably. Energy waste reduction is kind of what the MPSC, or the Michigan Public Service Commission, defines us as, but before that, it was simply energy efficiency. So today, excited to share some information that we have available to help our small business customers save energy. If there's one thing I want to leave you with today is that we have lots to offer. Don't feel overwhelmed. We're here to help. So there's going to be different links along the presentation. Feel free to jot those down. But ultimately, if you have questions, reach out to us. We'll help you with the journey of energy efficiency. Safety always comes first at Consumers Energy, but this past year has pushed us to continue engaging in the highest of safety guidelines through the pandemic and ensuring that we keep our employees safe, as well as our customers, by practicing the highest CDC recommendations, supporting our frontline workers with appropriate personal protective equipment and cleaning supplies, and then simply changing company policies, like allowing their company vehicles to report directly from their home to work, and also, how we interact with our customers going into homes and businesses. Consumers Energy is a little bit of background here. Consumers Energy provides service to about 1.8 million electric customers and then 1.7 million gas customers. Holistically, we like to say that we serve more than 6 million Michiganders within the Lower Peninsula. So you might ask the question, why energy efficiency? So kind of tying back a little bit to Jim's presentation, Consumers Energy is seizing this once in a generation opportunity to redefine our company and help reshape Michigan's energy future through our clean energy plan. We're viewing the world through a wider lens these days, considering how decisions impact people, the planet, and our state's prosperity. Energy efficiency contributes to that overarching clean energy plan with these 3 pillars in mind. People, we're helping customers lower their energy usage by 2% per year going forward, which is one of the most aggressive energy efficiency investments anywhere in the country. Secondly, planet. The main way customers can work as a clean energy partner is to participate in our energy efficiency programs to help eliminate coal and cut our emissions by 90% by 2040. And then lastly, prosperity. We'll lower the need to build new, larger power plants by giving you the power to reduce your energy waste and lower your bill both at home and at your business. As mentioned, energy efficiency is a major part of the clean energy plan. In order to achieve our goals, we need your engagement in our customer programs. As you can see, energy efficiency takes on a more significant role in our generation portfolio as we retire 7 coal plants and replace power from our Palisades nuclear plant. These virtual power plants, as we like to call them, will help reduce energy demand and manage customer load efficiently and effectively. As you can see, we need to double our efforts with energy efficiency in the next 2 decades. It's becoming a big piece of how we will reduce those coal plants or eliminate those coal plants. By helping customers reduce their energy and become more efficient in their energy usage, we can help balance those needs. I will move through the next few slides, sharing information about the different offerings we have available. Also, you may be wondering, what is qualifying as small business? We define small business by usage. So a business using at or below 750,000 kilowatt hours and 10,000 MCF annually. For example, this could be your typical office space, some small manufacturing, gas stations, convenience stores, just to give a few examples. If you don't know what to expect in energy efficiency, an easy place to start is our free business assessment and direct install program. It provides a complimentary walkthrough audit of your facility to identify saving opportunities for your business and offer installation of products by one of our trained energy advisors. Products such as smart programmable thermostats, faucet aerators, pre-rinse sprayers, shower heads, LED replacements, and in pipe insulation, just to name a few. Once that is completed, a report is generated that provides insights on your energy usage, provides simple tips and recommendations of things that you can do, and links to other energy efficiency opportunities in our portfolio. Next, maybe you just want to have an online experience, you know, an Amazon type of experience. You want to buy already discounted energy efficiency products. Energy efficiency products not only save you money on your bill, but they can improve your comfort at your facility as well. Simply, if you haven't tried LED lighting, you will find you can buy in multiple color temperatures that can brighten your space, improve the ambiance, or improve highlighted products you may be selling. Marketplace has additional products beyond lighting, such as those faucet aerators, pre-rinse sprayers, some flat panel LEDs, smart power strips, smart and programmable thermostats, and so much more. Marketplace is always free shipping. You can get 25% off your first order using the code on the screen. Just visit the website at the bottom of the screen and you can learn more about what's available. Next is My Business Rewards. That's a small business, excuse me, online platform that promotes energy education and the ability to learn more about customers' energy consumption with an ability to earn points. Within those points, they can be redeemed for gift cards to your favorite retailers. There's lots of different things you can do within the site. You can learn and read more about energy efficiency. You can take actions and work towards increasing those points and then turn those into those retailer gift cards as mentioned. Again, it's focused on small business. You're welcome to check it out at the website listed below. This program, our Trade Ally program, is built with small business owners in mind. We know that small business owners wear a lot of hats, have limited time and resources to think about their energy consumption. Therefore, this is the program for you. This is the most holistic opportunity for making the most impact on your energy savings. This program provides higher rebates than our general prescriptive program, needs very little involvement from you. You can simply pick one of our preferred contractors known as Trade Allies that will provide turnkey retrofit solutions for lighting and refrigeration products with little to no effort from you. The Trade Ally will handle everything from providing a proposal of opportunities, installation of the products, and all necessary paperwork for the program. The incentives sometimes add up to 100% covered by the program. While if any money is owed by the customer, it's not due until after the project is complete. This program has no downside. You can simply pick that Trade Ally, they will do the rest. Once you have a proposal, you can choose to move forward or not. At this point, no out-of-pocket costs. Lastly, I brought up the prescriptive program. This is important as this is the program for all businesses, small, medium, or large. This program provides over 450 rebates for products installed. You can work with your contractor, or you can pick a Trade Ally that's partnering with the program. Simply, you fill out the application, you complete the project, submit, get your rebate check, and then repeat. Maybe familiar with the Menards rebate programs. You buy that product, you install it, submit your application, and then you get your rebate after that. There's an online application at the website listed below. Simply pull that up. You'll see everything that we have to offer. And again, for all different businesses. Within the prescriptive program, with this past year in the pandemic, we pulled out products that may be of interest with improved safety in mind. These are an example of the products you may want to consider as an improvement air quality or et cetera, that are also rebated as energy efficiency. Products like high performance filters, airflow management products, rooftop heating units, boilers, and furnace tune-ups. These products would be listed on our online application shared on the previous slide. And that's it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Chad. It's so interesting what a commitment Consumers Energy has to the community and to this cost savings. Before we get to some of the other questions, why would an organization like Consumers Energy try to help people reduce using their product?
Yeah, great question. Simply the answer is energy efficiency can reduce your energy use and lower your bill, improve your facility comfort, and lower maintenance costs. You're already paying for it. This is a surcharge that's already being covered on your bill. That's required by our regulators. And it has fantastic return on investment. So most of our products that we promote have a 1 to 3 year payback when factoring in utility incentives. And then lastly, just kind of a fact to share, since 2009, when we really launched these programs, more than 104,000 Michigan businesses have received more than $344 million in energy rebates from Consumers Energy.
It's awesome. Thank you. And if you would stop sharing your screen, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Also, I do have another question, Jim. This one is really towards you. It's been really impressive to see the list of processes. I'm going to read this verbatim. You have an impressive list of processes and tools for accountability. How does CalSec organize its teams and efforts to stay current with these?
Great question. I'll step back a little bit on that as well. As far as deciding which ones to use, it took us about 14 months in the initial part of the process when we were going to start disclosing, because across the globe, there's so many different standards of comparison. Some of you may be familiar with something like the Rainforest Alliance, RFA, the Green Frog stamp that gets put on some products, et cetera. We had some customers that really wanted to see that as an example. And staying current, what we've decided to do is we are using our B Corp. It's called a B Impact Assessment, as well as the SDG Action Manager, which B Corp has been really helpful, and B Labs on references for all of the elements of the program for what's current in the globe. So what are stakeholders really paying attention to? A big piece for us is it comes from our sales force, based on conversations with customers or in our supply chain as we're working with our suppliers. It'll keep us pretty tuned in. We do have a resource that's very active in the Sustainable Agricultural Initiative, both here and in Europe, which is another avenue on the front end. The other one is on professional organizations. Like for CalSec, we belong to the several professional organizations, AOCS, International Flavor Institute, International Colors, as examples, Flavor Extracts Manufacturers Association, and we have those organizations are pretty good at keeping current on what's leading in the marketplace. But I'd say for CalSec, we've decided we're centering in on B Labs and B Corp to be one of our primary drivers there.
That's great information. Somebody did have a question on the B Corp, and this is, as you say, you guys are in the kind of forefront of leading some of these charges. What do you see as the long-term effects that the B Corp can really provide, especially if we get a whole community built, and really considering this? What are the benefits of that community-based side?
I think the biggest one, and there's two different terms there. One is B Corp. We're a certified B Corp, and the other is benefit corporation. You can be a benefit corporation without being a certified B Corp, and vice versa. But they do overlap. The benefit corporation is a legal status, just like an S Corp type thing. It's how your articles of incorporation are written. And our belief is, and I think B Corp is it's a people-centric standard. So no matter what the element is that you're looking at that's important for long-term sustainability, it's a long-term people-centric view of every person. And I think a community that's operating on the same platform, it's about long-term, I'm going to use the word sustainability, but it's going to transition more into an economic sustainability picture. So it's about attracting people into your community. It's about attracting people to your business. It's surprising to us. It's become how first out of the gate is with interviews with people in their 20s and 30s. When they see that's starting in the conversation. When they see our early learning center as an example, those are things that start conversations that we didn't used to have access to. So you're probably all aware. I mean, sometimes it's a challenge to get people to Kalamazoo. We're a hidden treasure, in the Midwest. But to me, for a community, it's about staying the coolest city in America, the type thing. And it's long-term of people. I mean, it's taking care of people in all aspects. So.
Thank you. And one thing for everybody on the call, Jim had mentioned previously that there is a group called the Sustainability Business Forum. That was through the Kalamazoo Nature Center. And there have been some changes there. And so we are going to be relaunching a similar discussion, a sustainability roundtable. All of you will be receiving information about that. We will be having another event that's really focused in that area, really exploring, what do we want to do as a community? What are the benefits if we have more and more companies that are in this? When you look at great cities and things where communities have an image, whether it's Beer City or something like that, how can we, and what type of benefits do companies have with that? What type of collaboration can happen? So look for an invitation that will be coming out to everyone, and that will be held on June 22nd. I believe, and that'll be from 3:30 to 5 p.m. in the evening, in the afternoon. So you will all see that. And we really invite anybody who's interested in learning more and being part of the future of the entire community in that space. We invite you to be part of that. Are there any other questions that anyone has? If you'll add those into the chat box. I don't see any other ones right now. So while we're waiting to see if there's anything else on that side, I do want to mention one other thing that's coming up. Our next Business First program is scheduled for Thursday, May 20th, again from 9 to 10 a.m. And that will be on exporting, importing, and global sourcing. Again, trying to see what type of collaboration we can have with supply chain and different things like that. They're so important to the 3 Ps, the triple bottom line. So we hope that you all will join us for that. And once again, I really want to thank Jim and congratulate you and CalSec on all the great things that you're doing as a leader in this area. And then also Consumers Energy, thank you so much for all that you're doing to support businesses and companies that are here. And with that, thank you very much. Have a great Earth Day. Turn out your lights and have a great day.
Thanks, Petey.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.